And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to move to another very inspiring talk from none other than a very, very distinguished leader, our keynote speaker, the leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha, the Honorable Mr. Arun Jaitley.
Well, thank you very much at the very outset for your kind invitation to address such a large gathering of young students from all over the country. It takes my memories back 4 decades, where in an environment almost as similar, as a young student I used to participate in a desire for change. And today, if I look at the kind of anger and cynicism which has built up in India, I can very safely say that having seen the last few decades of Indian public life, it is far more than what I saw when Indian democracy was at its lowest. That was during the mid-1970s when the emergency was proclaimed. I have been asked to speak as a representative of a political party on a subject as to why you must vote for my party, the BJP. If I look at the situation today, I see one of the greatest feelings of anger and cynicism, as I pointed out. There is a huge anti-incumbency environment. We speak in terms of India as a nation of young population, but it's a country which is almost seething with anger and negativism. The challenge of our democratic process is, how do we channelize this anger and convert it into a positive energy as far as India is concerned? Why is there cynicism in the country today? Let me ask myself a few questions. In the last 2 decades, the last 21 years, we showcased India as an emerging global power. There were successive governments. We showcased India as an investment destination. And suddenly in the last 3-4 years, we have seen a complete collapse of economic management as far as the country is concerned. The world which looked at India as an investment destination today is looking for better opportunities elsewhere. Indian investment is traveling out of the country. And when investment in this country dries up, the entire economic cycle breaks down. Investment means more economic activity. More economic activity will mean more jobs, more revenue, more enrichment in the pockets of the state, better infrastructure, better social sector spending. And if this circle breaks down, as it indeed has broken down under the present government, you find a desperate situation where jobs are being lost, revenues will go down, economic activity goes down, investment goes down, the rupee gets weakened, prices are sky high, and every sector, manufacturing slows down. Why is it that this has happened? एक प्रश्न जो आप अपने आप से पूछिए, 8.4% इस देश की विकास दर थी जब हमने सरकार छोड़ी थी। ये क्या कारण है कि इस परिस्थिति में क्या कारण है कि इस परिस्थिति में आकर देश खड़ा हुआ है? I have drawn, friends, 5 lessons of the last few years. And my first lesson is, India must have a political leader as its Prime Minister. Prime Ministership is not an employment. It's an act of public service. A Prime Minister must be decisive. A Prime Minister must be willing to leave his post. A Prime Minister must have the capacity to take a decision. He must have a capacity to overrule a decision. But if the Prime Minister of the country, along with his cabinet, can be overruled by somebody half his age, if the Prime Minister can be overruled by somebody half his age, and if the Prime Minister of the country wavers, then certainly the Prime Minister will be incapable of taking hard economic decisions. Prime Ministers are judged not by the number of years that they remain in office. They are going to be judged by the footprints that they leave behind. And therefore, the fact that this country did not have a person who is either a political leader of the country or not even a political leader of his party as the Prime Minister of the country, decision making in the field of economy has suffered. When the Prime Minister was weak, you had a structure outside the government, the National Advisory Council, which took all the decisions. An extra constitutional center which took all the decisions, and the government was merely executing and implementing some of those decisions. The government had no capacity to overrule them. How much has corruption cost us? Mr. Jaitley just now was giving an elaborate presentation on black money. But more than this black money, see the impact of corruption. Are you aware of the fact why the Indian rupee has collapsed? The Indian rupee has collapsed, those students of economics would know, because there is a high current account deficit. What is a current account deficit? A current account deficit is when the foreign exchange that we earn is less than the foreign exchange that we spend. We have to import oil, we have to import edible oils. Are you aware of the fact that $20 billion, and each $1 billion today is 6,300 crores. So 6,300 crores into 20 billion we are importing coal into this country. India has coal surplus, but because we had a corrupt government at the center, which by a process of nepotism destroyed the whole system of allocation of coal blocks, your coal mining in those areas has come to a standstill. And we have to spend foreign exchange to buy coal from the outside the world. We have an iron ore surplus. We were supplying iron ore to China. Today we are importing iron ore into this country because of widespread corruption. Where has this corruption taken us? Our foreign exchange spending has increased because of these acts of corruption. What happened in 2G? In 2008, you allot spectrum at the 2001 prices. The CAG says 1,76,000 crores was lost. Bofors was the most talked about corruption scandal of the past. Only 64 crores. Compare that with what is happening today. 1,76,000 crores in spectrum, 1,85,000 crores in coal blocks. I am not referring to the others. In a situation of this kind, coal mining stops, telecom licenses are cancelled, investments are confiscated, and the world is not willing to trust the Indian economy. The government says the opposition doesn't cooperate. The only instrument of cooperation that they have is not a dialogue. The only instrument of dealing with the opposition that this government has is to deal with the opposition through the Central Bureau of Investigation. The Congress knows, the UPA knows it cannot contest the elections politically. And therefore, if I can't fight them politically, if I can't fight their leaders politically, let me use investigative agencies to fight them. We have seen a breakdown of relationship between the government and the opposition because of this misuse of investigative agencies. This is as far as your economy is concerned. What is the state of national security? While I was driving to this place, I saw a news on the television channel that when the Prime Minister of India was meeting Mr. Nawaz Sharif, Pakistan had come and occupied an Indian village in Kupwara in Kashmir. Chinese do it regularly. Look at what is the state of our country's strength. Our national pride, our national security, our national honor are at stake. Almost at will, Pakistan can engineer cross-border terrorism anywhere in this country. Almost at will, they can enter the Indian line of control, kill our soldiers, go back, and instead of a strong government and a strong leader at the center, we are almost on our knees saying we still want to talk to you. The Chinese have come, occupied part of our territory, remained there. Our president goes to Arunachal Pradesh, our army chief goes to Arunachal Pradesh, they start objecting, as though Arunachal Pradesh belongs to them. They are in a highly assertive mood, building infrastructure all around India's northern borders. And we choose to accept it lying down. Even a country like Maldives. Maldives is a country of several hundred islands. The largest island is Malé. Are you aware of what the size of Malé is? 2 square kilometers. Even and Maldives started asserting itself because they found a weak neighbor to deal with. Maoists have come and occupied, created their impact in almost 200 districts in central India. We all wanted to fight them. They are not social reformers. Maoism is not a poverty eradication program. It's a set of people who want to overthrow India's parliamentary democracy and impose an ideological dictatorship through violent means. The government of India and the state started fighting them. One letter to the Congress workers written in Congress Sandesh by the party president, and the central government changed its strategy, and the entire war against Maoism was diluted. Today we are an insecure nation. Economically, from a strong nation, we've become a struggling economy. What is the image of this country and its governance? I won't go into deeper allegations of corruption, but in terms of corruption, as I mentioned the figures to you, this is perhaps one of the worst phases of Indian public life that we have seen. Where in the world are votes of confidence won by paying members of parliament? You have the Central Bureau of Investigation under your control. I won't refer to the cases where they victimize our friends and our leaders. The rail minister's relatives are selling jobs. The relatives are arrested, and the rail minister is supposed to have nothing to do with it. He's only a witness. The cost of the SP and the BSP supporting you for 9 years in parliament, every time this government is in difficulty because they don't have a majority in parliament, these two political parties stand up and start supporting them. They bail them out. There are cases of corruption against their leaders, and you use the CBI as a bargain counter for bargaining support in parliament every now and then. This is what you continuously do. Commonwealth Games was an occasion to showcase India to the world. You converted it into an instrument of money making. All natural resources are sold by you in a manner that your own pockets of those supporters of yours are enriched by this process. If this is the state of India's economy, if this is the state of India's security, if this is where the moral standing of this government is, then surely India needs a change. And if India needs a change, how does that change come about? The change clearly comes about, and I'll put this question to you because you are all young people, आप सब नौजवान हैं, विद्यार्थी हैं. प्रश्न ये है कि देश के अंदर राजनीतिक नेतृत्व कैसे खड़ा होना चाहिए? How is political leadership to be created? How was President Obama created? How many of us knew his name 3 years before he was elected as the president? He created an impact during his campaign. How are presidents and prime ministers in democracies elected? And the big choice you have to all make now is India going to be a dynastic democracy, or is India going to select its leaders on basis of proven merit? If India is going to be saddled as a dynastic democracy, it will be a disgraceful act that the world's largest democracy, the world's most populated democracy, the world's most vibrant democracy, elects its leaders on basis of what goes on within a family, and whoever is the heir apparent becomes the leader. His views are not known, his economic philosophy is not known, his vision on foreign affairs is not known, his governance ability is not known, but because you are born in a particular family, you are a leader. There is no greater negation of democracy than rendering it merely into a dynastic democracy. Or is democracy to be vibrant going to be decided and settled, and the leadership going to be settled on the strength of proven ability? The next general election and hopefully India's future political contests, the more they become contests between proven leadership, the more vibrant India's democracy will become. To make India a vibrant democracy, accountable democracy, it's extremely important that the mere charisma of families becomes an asset. Unless and until that charisma of families is completely dismantled and demolished, the real worth of Indian democracy will not be realized. We, on behalf of the BJP, have always endeavored to provide leadership on that basis. We assure you a clean government. We assure you that the process of economic reforms, the process of economic growth will be hastened. We look forward to an India which is compassionate, which look forward to an India where there is concern for the weaker sections of society. We look forward where every Indian will have equal rights. No Indian will complain of discrimination. We assure you an India which will raise the standard of living and the quality of life of each Indian. And that is why I feel the youth of India must work for the BJP. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Shri Arun Jaitley.